Hi there, welcome back to the channel. My name is Heather and I'm a full-time reseller on 6 platforms now online. I sell on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, Depop, Etsy, and now Whatnot. I just started cross-listing over to Whatnot about 2 days ago. I have a little under 100 items there, have yet to receive a sale there. But we're here today to talk really quickly about the sales that I had the first weekend of May. Overall, I feel like it was okay. First of all, let's talk about the market that I went to. I ended up going to auction about a week and a half before my market in Tigard, Oregon. And the traffic at the market was a lot slower than usual. I had my same booth set up. I did have some regulars come by. But because I sourced all new items and my booth was almost entirely composed of items that I picked up at auction recently, I did fairly well. I made a little bit over $600. I would say about a third of the money was generated from a huge stack of prints that I went in on with another reseller, another business owner. I paid her $150 for a portion of 15 boxes of art prints that she bought. And we kind of picked through and decided which ones she was going to put in her store in Newport, Oregon, and which ones I was going to keep. She was very fair about it. So I did take about a third of the prints that she purchased, and she only charged me like a quarter of what she paid for them, which was awesome, and I'm so grateful. So I just decided to sell my prints at $6 a piece or 4 for $20. I was in and out, just looking for the quick sale. I had quite a few other booth owners come purchase prints from me to resell. I'm perfectly fine with that. There's plenty to go around for everybody. So the first weekend of May, we are going through Saturday, Sunday, and the first portion of Monday sales. I had a total of 30 sales. At this point, I was only on the 5 platforms. Like I said, I have yet to make a sale on Whatnot, but I'm a little bit anxious to see how the Buy It Now section of Whatnot works because per usual, I did zero research. I just started cross-listing over there with my Nifty and I'll figure it out when the time comes. So sales for the first weekend of May, 13 on eBay, 3 on Mercari, 8 on Poshmark, 5 on Depop, and 1 on Etsy. So let's get to it. I'm going to pop up screenshots today so we can roll right through this. And then I'll show you just a couple things I picked up at the thrift and a couple of fun things that sold today. We're going to start with Poshmark. On Poshmark, I had 8 sales. The first one is this Sunday afternoon 6 to 24 month sun hat. It sold on offer for $10. My second Poshmark sale is this Wrangler men's extra large tall Western pearl snap shirt. It sold on offer for $16. Next up, we have the Zion National Park snapback hat, sold for $13. I sold a tie Beanie Baby, new with the ear tag. I never list them as new. I always list them as excellent pre-owned condition. This tie Beanie Baby sold for $9. Then I sold a pair of sandals, these Prop It red leather sandals that I just talked about in a couple of videos previous to this. I took an offer for $20. And the braided gold belt that we think is vintage that I also talked about in one of my previous videos sold for $13. And the last 2 sales on Poshmark were this vintage Montana Centennial blue corduroy hat. This hat is actually going to Montana. I love it when that happens. The hat sold for $23. The hat was a bins find. The belt was a bins find. All of these previous sales that I'm talking to you about were found at the bins. As well as this pair of 8.5 wide Keds. These are like a chambray style shoe, sold for $25. I'm a huge fan of picking up shoes that are a size wide or extra wide. I have a wide foot myself, and I can tell you, I've purchased shoes more than once online because there just is not a good selection in the stores. Next, I had 5 sales on Depop. My first sale sold for $6.89. It was these tiny Peeps Just Born mini plush bunny and clip-on. Then for $18, I sold this pair of Tiva burgundy velvet shoes. This color maroon is going to be trending this fall for sure. I've been doing a lot of research on fall styles, and warm jewel tones are definitely in this year. This was a very quick sale, sold in just one day. A Sony 10-disc CD holder. I had it listed for $11.95. Somebody sent me an offer for $9.90. I gladly took that. And I sold one of my vintage earring holders again. This was a black one. It sold on Depop for $12. My last Depop sale right before the weekend ended was this Jellycat Tumble Tuft mouse. It was in pre-loved condition. I did make sure to put in the listing that the fur did show signs of wear. I've never had the Tumble Tuft mouse before. A lot of the other pictures that I was looking at, it appeared that maybe the fur was more of a textured fur. But just as a precaution, I did put that it was well loved. I put a close-up of the feet and the tail where the fur looked a little bit matted. This ended up selling for $36. This is a Jellycat that I actually found in a small bag of plush that I picked up at the Goodwill for $3.99. I did not know it was in there, so I just about fell over when I opened the bag and saw that there was a Jellycat in the middle of it. One that I had never sold to speak of. So next on Mercari, we just had 3 sales on Mercari this weekend. Mercari is kind of up and down right now. This week I have a lot of sales going out on Mercari again. The last weekend, not so much. The 3 sales were these Disney Junior mini finger puppets. They sold for $6.75. I sold this awesome graphic tee. This was an unbranded tee. It was a frog sitting on a mushroom drinking a cup of coffee. Bins Find sold for $12.83. And then a hand-painted Christmas star ornament. This was made out of a plaster material, so it was a little bit on the heavier side. Sold for $8.50. The buyer did pay almost $7 to ship this item. I'll tell you what, these new shipping rates kind of have me in a kerfuffle, or whatever the saying is. Important thing to note, items on Depop 0 to 8 ounces are shipping for free right now. Since eBay has recently acquired Depop, I feel like they're trying to give a boost to the platform. So go ahead and get your lightweight items crossed over to Depop if you haven't already done that, because stuff is, it is moving over there now. Etsy, I just had one sale. So last week when I was thrifting, I normally try to not be super nosy and pushy and look at the carts at Goodwill right when they come out. That's some people's thing. That's not my thing. I'm never in a race to find the best thing. There's always good things left behind. But somebody that was stocking the shelves parked a cart right in front of me, and it had a massive bag of Fisher-Price Loving Family furniture in it, and it was marked $6.99. Now, we all know that's paying up for me. But I know that individually these pieces sell anywhere from $8 to $12. I saw the fireplace in there. I saw the kitchen set in there. So I went ahead and snatched it up. It was military discount day, so I got an extra 10% off of my the sale. So I ended up paying like $6.29 or something of the sort. And that whole lot ended up selling this last weekend on Etsy for $48. We talked way back in one of my first videos about free shipping on Etsy. Apparently, I opted into some sort of free shipping for over $35 thing. It's supposed to boost your items in the search, and I clicked through there yesterday and I was trying to figure out how to unenroll in that, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stay on it because it is bringing some sales. The Fisher-Price Loving Family 12-piece furniture that I did mail out, it was 4 pounds, 2 ounces. To ship that, it costed me like $15.83. So then you subtract the $6 and some odd change that I purchased the furniture for, and then fees on top of that. And I really didn't make much money. Hopefully, I gained a new follower and buyer on the platform, though. Interesting thing to note, the buyer chose priority shipping. I went through and I read, and nowhere in there does it say that buyer gets to choose the method of shipping. So it was going to take one additional day to get to her, shipping Ground Advantage. So I chose to just ship it Ground Advantage. I mean, this shipping method that she chose was going to be almost $29. So let me know in the comments, do you offer free shipping on Etsy? And do you have to choose the method that the buyer chooses? Because I couldn't find rules stating that anywhere. Anyways, we'll move on to eBay. On eBay, I had 13 sales over the weekend, a good mix of bread and butter and a couple of higher dollar items. Nothing spectacular, but definitely enough to pay the bills this month. Starting off strong, we had this Hand Knitting Association of Iceland wool hat. I listed this hat for $34.95. It's a hat that I picked up at the bins. Anything that's wool, I'm picking up. 100% wool, hand knit, especially if it's made in another country. I'm picking it up and I'm listing it right away. And wouldn't you know, it's almost the beginning of summer and the darn thing sold within 2 days for $26. My cost of goods for the hat was around 45 cents. So super excited and thrilled that that item went out so quickly. The next item was this men's Diet Coke boxer and socks set that sold for $11. Then we had an Aurora Jackson teddy bear that sold for $18.05. Anytime that I see an Aurora plush that has a name on the tag, Jackson, Berkeley, I can't think of other, Rufus, I think is one of them. I can't think of all of them offhand right now, but there are quite a bit of them. For some reason, there aren't a lot listed on any of the platforms. I don't know if people are just listing the items as Aurora and not putting the actual name on the tag. And it's going to be here. I'll put a screenshot up. It's going to be in black and white, the name. I'm pricing these items up simply because I don't feel like other people are listing them so that folks can find them. And if your item is the only one that's found, people are going to purchase it. So $18.05 for this item, though it was new with tags, I feel like was just a really good sale. Next up, we had the People Pals Sunshine Yellow Teddy Bear, sold for $7.68. These bears, along with an Aurora line of bears, come in the full rainbow of colors. So I'm constantly picking these up. I'll list what I have, and then when I find another color, I'll just add some additional photos to the listing and bump up the price just a little bit. Almost just 1 minute later after the yellow teddy bear sold, I sold this yellow Easter duck. It was missing the tush tag, but I do know that this is a Greenbrier or Dollar Tree plush. I have sold these many, many times. They're definitely a pickup for me all the time. They weigh about 2 to 3 ounces, so my cost is around a quarter. And this yellow Easter duck with sparkly orange feet sold for $7.96. Then we had a buyer come in and buy a lot of my doll tights for $5. Plus she paid shipping. Typically, I don't sell items really less than like $6.95. She did express an interest in purchasing multiple lots of the doll tights closer to Christmas. She is doing like Operation Christmas Child with them. So I thought, you know what? I have a ton of these tights and I have hardly sold any of them. Let's just go ahead and take the offer. All right, then we sold this Mayoni Aurora Red Fox plush for $5.56. That was an automated offer that Nifty sent out, an older item, so it's going to send out a bigger discount. Next up, this is just absolutely a great sale. I had troubles getting this thing to stay on my mannequin because it was that large. It is a vintage patchwork corduroy dreadlock cap, and I have it listed as extra, extra large. I did put circumference measurements in the pictures. Sold for $41.61. Now, I did just ship this off on Monday. I'm a little bit nervous that it's going to be returned because it's too big. But hopefully somebody has some big, beautiful dreads out there and it fits perfectly. And then we sold a magnetic dinosaur set. This is a set that I've had listed since Christmas. I was super thrilled that it sold for $17.52. With the exception of Etsy, all of my buyers are paying shipping, so $6 to $8 on top of all of these sales. Then Starbelly Dreams Lights Ladybug. Now, anytime that I see a Starbelly Dream Lights, especially at the bins, I'm picking them up. They're going at electronic rates, so I'm paying like 60, 70 cents a pound. So I'm getting the plush for $1 or $1.20. When I looked up comps at the bins on this particular ladybug, it was selling in the $35 to $40 range. So I thought, what the heck, I'll just list it for $39.95 and give it a shot. And of course, my store's on sale and ended up selling for $33.96. It's up to you whether you ship items with batteries or not. I've started to put in my listing batteries not included at the beginning of the listing and at the end of the listing. Not only does it add additional weight, but even if you're buying your batteries at Costco, it gets spendy if you're selling a lot of animated or electronic items. I am looking forward to probably getting a message from the buyer stating that it doesn't work, and I will have to remind her that batteries were not included. Next up, we had a La Punuo 2XL Abstract Maxi Skirt. This sold for $15 after the buyer purchased. She did message me and asked me if I had any solid color shirts in a 2X or 3X to go with it. Unfortunately, it's not really my style to buy solid items. If you look through my store, I have a lot of pattern pieces, a lot of wacky prints. That's just kind of the things that I enjoy picking up and I think will sell well. So I had to unfortunately tell her that I didn't have anything, but I did look and responded right away because nothing is more frustrating than contacting somebody on eBay and waiting 8 or 10 hours for them to answer back. My next eBay sale was New Balance trail running shoes. These are a men's 10 wide. These are shoes from my personal collection. I purchased these shoes for $15 from a garage sale and wore them for about 4 years. I do, like I said, have really wide feet, so I rotate through shoes constantly. None of my shoes are extremely worn. I try not to wear the same pair of shoes 2 days in a row unless absolutely necessary to cut down on the wear. So them selling for $18.36 after wearing them for nearly 4 years, I was stoked about. And then the last eBay sale, we have 2 more, is this awesome Chewy Frisco Muscular Sloth. I couldn't really find any sloths like this listed, so I did list him for $24.95. Buyer sent me an offer for $19.09, and I gladly accepted. You all know I love a good dog toy sale. And okay, I guess that was the last eBay sale. So that's all that we have as far as sales for the weekend. Couple things that are going out today. Here's a little sale on Poshmark that I made. This just is a little Shopkins clip-on tiny plush. This ended up selling for just $6, but a reminder, Depop does not have any fees for sellers as of yet. They were just acquired by eBay, so we just wait. I'm sure it's coming. Tons of interest in this. One thing about Depop is people will send you offers, you'll accept them, and then they'll just never pay. So I'm excited to see this little gal go out. I've accepted like 4 or 5 offers on her. Then one last sale that I'm dying to show you is this little frog right here. This is a Russ Love Pets, and I couldn't find any comps on this frog at all. So I listed him at $29.95. He ended up selling for $25.69 on an offer sent out by Nifty. So great sale. He weighs about 1.2 ounces. So again, I paid less than 15 cents for him. If you see something that's small and cute, these are items for me. They're easy to store. There's always going to be a buyer that's looking for a mini, like a pocket pet or something to take on, to put in their handbag. So yeah, this was a great sale. And then let me go ahead and grab the 3 things that I picked up from the thrift earlier this week. So I just did a mini plush haul. I had an appointment out of town again, so I decided let me stop into the Goodwill and see what's there. I did end up spending a little bit over $20. You all, check the craft section. I have been looking for bulk bags of yarn and such, but I came across just a ton of poly mailers, and this Goodwill in a smaller town outside of the town that I live in only wanted $1.99 a bundle. I buy a lot of poly mailers. I ship about 100 to 150 items a week. And I know that the bundles that I'm buying go anywhere from $10 to $15, and they were all marked $1.99 to $2.99. I'll show you here. Some of them were this lovely lime green color. Guess what? I don't care, neither does the customer. A poly mailer is a poly mailer. If it's gonna get it there safe, I'm all for it. So the 3 items that I ended up picking up besides the poly mailers, this is a tie, Theodore, of course, from Alvin and the Chipmunks. I'm gonna throw up some comps for Theodore, and then I'm also gonna throw up some comps for some lots. These sell for a lot of money, as well as some of the Sing plush. There are a couple of items that Ty makes that do pretty well. So again, I paid up for this. I paid $1.99 for this plush. I'll probably end up listing him for $25 or $30. Next up, I found this puppet. It says made in Korea. The brand is called Wildkins. I've never had a Wildkins puppet before. This just feels like a really, really nicely made puppet. Previous seller had it listed as a squirrel. I'll have to look. It does look like a squirrel. It does kind of look like a sugar glider to me too. The last one of these, I'll throw up the sold comp. I believe sold in the $20 range, and the tail was disconnected. So I'm going to list this guy for $24.95, and I also paid $1.99 for him. Then, in order to find the good plush, sometimes at the Goodwill, you've got to dig to the back. This week is Green Tag Day, so I did pay $2.50 for this Singamajig. If you haven't heard of Singamajigs before, this one is from 2010. These are very popular. There's a buyer out there for these. They come in all different colorways. They say different things. So this guy here, $2.50. I'll probably list him close to the $30 range. I did replace the batteries. I'll make sure to take a video of him singing. Oh, he said good night. He's ready to go night night. So that was an exciting find. So I'm getting ready to go ahead and list some plush. And last week I got about 160 listings up, as well as doing my flea market. So I have just been hustling. I'm trying to get a lot of items listed before the heat wave comes. It's supposed to be extremely hot in my state this coming week, and I don't operate well on the heat at all. So trying to get a lot of photos taken right now, have enough stuff in my camera roll ready to go, and I'm planning on posting anywhere from 20 to 30 items a day. Try to get everything that didn't sell at the flea market online and see if we can find some buyers for this stuff. So again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. Links to shop my stores are down below if you want to see what kind of items I'm listing. And if you haven't already, get out there, hit the garage sales, and see what you can find. I would love for you to share your finds of the week with me in the comments below. Let me know how things are going for you. Until next time, take care. So long. I'll see you soon. Bye.